Hello everyone, my name is Trip Smith, and I came up with these sawhorses, or I didn't necessarily, well I guess I kind of did. It's just kind of a folding sawhorse that I've kind of wanted, something kind of just like this for a long time, and haven't really been able to find anything in the store. The plastic ones, blah blah blah, break, and a lot of times the other folding ones are big and bulky and don't want to store too well. Well, I kind of sat down and figured up something and built some out of plywood, and they fold up pretty well. You can get them in that one sheet of plywood, but you can see they're not very heavy. They're pretty light, and they're pretty versatile. They're pretty strong. I think they're pretty good and sturdy. Doesn't want to shake or wobble with me. Lots of folding sawhorses that I see want to wobble this way, left and right, but I built it out of one sheet of plywood, so it holds it structurally that way very well. And there's not a whole lot. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build these. But you can go to my blog. There's probably going to be a link around here somewhere where you can visit my blog and check out the cut list and get the materials and all the dimensions of everything you need to know before you build these. And hopefully this video will be good enough where you can understand and follow along and build yourself a good set of these. I like them a lot. Alright, the first thing I like to do in making the sawhorses is cut everything out. Pretty much everything can be cut out of one sheet of plywood, everything except for 6 inches. So you're going to have to take about 6 inches out of another 4 foot width of a sheet of plywood. The legs are kind of nested inside of a sheet of plywood so that you can get more out of the wood. You can see here how they're kind of nested. This is one leg and here's another. And this is the full 4 foot width of the plywood. And this just utilizes the plywood the least amount of waste. And you can use the inside to cut the runners that are going to go on the legs, down the legs of the plywood for support and make them stronger. But yeah, everything can be gotten out of a whole sheet of plywood except for the 2x4 that goes across the top, and for 6 inches out of another sheet of plywood. I use 3/4 of an inch. Here we go. What I like to do next is to make all my pocket holes. I'm going to put pocket holes in all of the runners that go along the backs of the legs. There's going to be 8 total. Put about 5 pocket hole screws in the backs of each of these, 4 or 5. And you also are going to put pocket hole screws in the sides of the top casing, which is no big deal. And I put about 6 in those. So that's going to take a little time, and that's about it. Also, whenever you're cutting them out, all your pieces, 4 pieces are 3 inches wide with one side on an 18-degree bevel. That's going to kind of allow the mechanism to stay still. And you can get all that out of your plywood, but just an 18-degree bevel is what you need on one edge. And the actual width of the sawhorse is about 42 15/16. Counting once you subtract your saw curve from your cuts. And so that's what I make all my runners that are going to make up the actual beam where you do your cutting and the 2x4 goes. Alright, now I'm making the cradle for the 2x4 to sit in. I assembled it with pocket hole screws. I've got a 3-inch rip down the bottom, and I've got 2-inch rips. Yes, 2-inch rips up here on the top, and put my pocket hole screws on the inside. I only have about 5 pocket hole screws in there on each side. And I'm gluing this so it'll be a lot stronger. That's about it. one thing to remember whenever you're drilling your pocket hole screws on these inside braces that go on the inside of your legs is if you want the pocket holes to be hidden on both sides, you have to drill them opposites. Notice the angle at the top and the direction of the screw. See? So don't forget that, like I just did, because I had to cut 4 more of these. So, just something to remember. Alright, whenever you fasten the leg runners, they're going to sandwich together, just like that, whenever sawhorses are folded in. So, you have to make them where they won't contact each other. So, I have on one leg section, I have them set in 1 inch. And on the next leg section, the opposite, I have it set in 2 1/4 inches. So don't forget to do that. Alright, now here I've got a 4-inch extra heavy T-hinge. I got it at my local big box store. They're about $3.75 a piece. And you're going to need 8 total. And I'm just attaching these to the inside of my legs where I put the runner on. I'm just kind of eyeballing it where they go. The distance from here, fingers width, no big deal. I'm pulling that about an 1/8 there. It doesn't matter really what it is, just as long as it's the same on all of them. But I'm just eyeballing it, and I think I'm getting close enough. And just be sure that it's good and square. Alright, well now I'm attaching the top beam to the actual legs. I already put my hinge on the leg. I'm lifting up the beam 3/4 of an inch. So I just put a piece of MDF under there to pick it up a little bit. And I'm just screwing it on. And I'm using some flat zinc Phillips screws. They're about 8 by 3/4 to attach my hinges. Alright, now I'm attaching the other leg. I have that piece standing up, and it's balancing itself up there. I still have my beam sitting on a piece of 3/4 inch MDF, which raises it the same height as my 3/4 inch plywood that the sawhorses are made of. And I'm just doing the same thing, attaching the top to the screws. Alright, this is how I'm keeping the legs from spreading apart. I've got 2 eyelets screwed in to my legs, and I've got a line tied across there. I've got a bow line over here. You just need some good knots, and a knot that doesn't slip. I'm keeping my leg spacing by cutting a block to go in between the legs, and you want the legs to be about 24.5 inches outside to outside at the bottom. And I clamp the legs with the spacer inside of them with just a clamp. Gotta say, these Bessie clamps are the best clamps you could probably buy, in my opinion. Best clamps I've ever used, I know that. I only have 2. I need about 20. Okay, what we're doing now is we're putting on these beveled pieces on the outside of our little beam that's going to hold our 2x4. Pretty much, there's no real science to this. It's not very technical. But as you can see, I just have a clamp up here that I'm using to hold this piece in position. Now what I'm doing, I'm just pulling it over to where, since I'm doing the left side, I want to get my beam here just a little bit beyond level before I tighten this thing down. I'll show you what I mean. See, that's about level there, so just beyond level. Push this down. Then I'm going to tighten my clamp to keep it right in there. Check it. Notice it's leaning a little bit that way. That's what I want. Alright, I'm going to put the screw in it. to hold it, because that's where that's going to be. Alright. Alright, one thing that I forgot to mention is that each piece needs to be notched for the hinges under here. So all I did, I just tilted it out, marked it, took it to the miter saw, and just kind of notched a little bit out of it. Now we're back. Put the clamp on this side. This is the second side. And I want to do the exact same thing with this. This is going to be a little more difficult. So I'm just going to try and force it as hard as I can, a little bit past level. Push this down. Okay. And tighten it up. And I'm going to put a screw in it. And that's it. I do the same thing to both sides. I'm going to put a few more screws in each piece. And we're nearly done. Alright, and to finish it up, I cut a 2x4, the length of the top, and I just put a couple longer screws in it, 3-inch screws. Put one on each side. And that's it. There's your sawhorse.